Chip Lutz.
And who is he this year?
Conference chair.
And who was he before?
Past president.
And?
President.
And? Podcast.
Oh, yeah, I did the podcast.
Yes, he's the original Laughbox man that we took over from. Say hi to Jim Bob, because he's going to watch this.
Miss you.
Miss you, too, yes. So tell us about the conference from the conference coordinator's perspective.
It's going really good. Like our keynote this morning just kicked off unbelievably well. Breakout sessions, the feedback I've gotten have been fantastic, where people are just like getting the stuff that they need. Any good conference is a combination of two things. I'm going to date myself here because a good conference is Donnie and Marie. Right? It's a little bit country, it's a little bit rock and roll. It's the country is the content that you need, the content that you want, but the rock and roll is the fun that you have, and you need to have a balance of those two things in order to have a really good conference. Donnie and Marie, that is the conference model that I follow every time. This is like my 6th time being conference chair, so
wow.
I'm full into Donnie and Marie. Quite honestly, I like Marie a little bit better, but that's just me.
Nice. And Donnie was country. No,
Donnie's rock and roll.
Donnie's rock and roll.
Well, I like the rock and roll. I just think Marie's prettier.
Right. This is true. Well, and that makes sense. So how many years are you involved in AATH?
My first conference was in 2007, so this would be 17 years.
Wow. And what did you just finish? You were working with the Illuminati today? Or you were introducing the Illuminati today?
I've been introducing everybody today, so I don't remember.
So we started with Kelly.
We started with Kelly Swanson. She absolutely rocked it this morning.
Amazing. She made me cry.
Yeah. Then we had some, breakout sessions. We had a couple good poster sessions and then research poster sessions. And then we just heard from Wayne Cannell from Invisible Disabilities, sharing about what their mission is and how humor helps, humor helps on their mission as well. We're currently in a couple other breakout sessions, and then we are going to wrap up the day with Nora Burns, who is, like one of my favorite people on the earth, but also just a rock star speaker.
And how do you know her?
How do I know Nora? We were at a conference. I was wearing a satin jacket, and she started petting me.
Perfect.
And she said, "Do you mind?" I'm like, "No, you have all day to stop that." So that's how we met, and then we bonded because she's a former Wisconsinite. I live in Wisconsin, so it's kind of how we bonded. A lot of things in common, and she's just fundamentally a fierce woman that's not afraid to go out and do new things, and I admire that about her.
I can't wait to hear her keynote.
No, it's gonna
nice.
Be good. And what's cool about her keynote is that it's not her normal quick keynote. Is that I was here in Denver 6 months ago, and she and I were having lunch because whenever I'm in Denver, I always try to connect with her. And so she picks me up from the hotel, was taking me to the airport, and then I was like, hey, I'm having this conference. What would you think about sharing some of your journey of trying stand up? Because when we first met, we were both coming up on our 50th birthday, and she had 50 things that she wanted to do before her 50th birthday. So we're just a couple months apart. And, doing stand-up was one of them. And so she's been doing it ever since. And that's why I said, like, being kind of, being fierce on, like not being afraid to step out and do something new. And so her keynote kind of like, revolves around some of the new things that she's done in her life to, challenge herself and how, humor's helped with that. Amazing.
And Chip, what are you working on besides the conference? I mean, you've been working hard on the conference all year. I see the
working on my sanity. That's what I've been working on, my sanity. I'm a pastor of a church in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So last week was Holy Week. So I had 5 services. I had 2 sermons I had to write, and then I had to pack on Monday, and I'm playing on Tuesday, and then I'm here this week. And then next week, I'm just going to be sleeping, I think. But then I have to go back to work, actually. So
Right. And you are using humor in your church services.
Yeah. Actually, when we go back, normally, the Sunday after Easter is Holy Humor Sunday. But since I'm not there, I'm here. We're actually doing that next weekend. We're doing Holy Humor weekend. Because I have services on Saturday and Sunday. And so we'll be incorporating some humor into the service and into the sermon. And because, I'll tell you what, I mean, there's some funny stuff in the Bible. I'm just saying, if we're making God's image.
Can you say more?
Well, if we're made in God's image, God's got to have a sense of humor. That's all I can say.
So, can you think of more humorous things from the Bible?
Oh, well, within context, I think it's Let's see. Whole Song of Solomon, the way he's talking to his bride to be, the way he describes her is hilarious. If you haven't read it, you should read it. The fact that Saul sent Daniel out to get 200 foreskins as a dowry is hilarious.
Yes.
What are you going to do with 200 foreskins? I have absolutely no idea. You're going to make a chain out of them? I don't know. Anyway, there's other things that are funny. Those are the two things that come to mind.
Yeah. And so, Chip, you had a podcast.
My own, yes.
And so, the Laughbox podcast, we're looking to we're trying to get hired, Jim Bob and I, as speakers to help people find how humor helps.
Mm-hmm.
And we co-host the Laughbox. Hi, Jim Bob again. And actually, you founded the Laughbox,
mm-hmm.
but you also had another podcast.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that briefly?
I started actually them not too distance in time from each other. My podcast was Leadership Happy Hour, and there were some interviews that I did for Leadership Happy Hour that then traversed over to Laughbox because they were, I mainly focused on new and emerging leaders because I think that we do a really good job of promoting the technical expert, but we do a really poor job of preparing that person to be in charge of people. So I wanted to have a podcast that helped that. And so some of the people that I had on Leadership Happy Hour were a great addition to Laughbox as well, because it kind of like traverse that, because humor is an intricate part of leadership. I mean, there's different power bases you can have as a leader. One of them is referent power, where people like you and they want to do stuff because you're liked, and humor helps with that. Like when you can laugh at yourself, when you're bold enough to laugh at yourself as a leader, and you might as well, because your people are laughing at you anyway. That's
true.
It gives them permission to laugh at themselves as well, and then they're not going to be afraid to make mistakes, because when you make mistakes, you laugh it off. You look, hey, what can we learn from that? I mean, if you really want real innovation, because innovation is the absence of fear. Innovation is the absence of fear. So if you want to create an atmosphere of risk without fear of reprise, where people aren't afraid to step out and try something new and actually be innovative, humor and laughter are a key component of that.
I love that. And you're a vet.
Yes, 22 years.
22 years in the Navy, correct?
Yes.
Can you talk about humor in the Navy?
No, because it is all very dark and obscure, and
right, because it's gallows humor, right?
Not just gallows humor, but it's we're sailors. I mean, we laugh at some things other people won't laugh at,
right.
And it's not all suitable for all audiences.
Gotcha.
But some of the funniest people I know I met in the military. That's one of the misnomers out there, that military people are really serious and strict, and that's not the case at all. Some of the funniest people I know, some of the easiest going people I know, have been in the military, where they're able to laugh at themselves, like, all right, that messed up. What can we learn from it? Let's move on.
And so, Chip, is your mom here this year?
My mother is here this year.
She is. I haven't seen her yet.
She is wandering around the passageway.
She is such a great supporter.
And then she brought my sister as well.
Oh, nice.
So we've got a whole family contingent here at the conference.
Beautiful.
And actually, my cousin's going to be here tomorrow because she lives local.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. I love that. So, people that don't know about AATH, and we're streaming on Joy First platforms and linked to AATH. But how would we want to bring people next year to the conference, just with a few words about AATH?
Well, fundamentally,
being past president.
My first conference, like I said, was in 2007. And it was really one of those things where I didn't know if I could go back to real life after that, because real people aren't this nice. Like when you're out in the real world, it's not like this. And there's such an air of positivity here. If you're just looking for a recharge, this is the kind of conference to go to. Second, if you use humor as a leader, as a nurse, as a social worker, whatever, I mean, this is the conference to not only learn a little bit more, but actually get things you can use. I mean, that's in our title, the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. Because theory is nice, but application is what works.
Yes.
And so, this association is full of people that share their knowledge of what works in their field, and if regardless of what field you're in, there's somebody in this organization that has something they can share with you, and you can take back and actually use. In whatever vocation that you're in.
All right, and I have two more questions for you. Okay, so Harvard says work should be more playful. Do you have any thoughts about that?
This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is the only life we have. So we're not enjoying what we're doing something wrong. So, and like I look at it from a leadership aspect, is that, leaders that have fun have teams that have fun, and it makes a much more productive work environment when you enjoy what you do. You might not enjoy the work all the time, but if you enjoy the people that you're with and how you do it, it makes all the difference in your overall productivity and your stress level and your mental health.
Way better. Yeah. So last question, you ready?
Yeah.
Is the future funnier and happier?
so, I think that's individual as we are as people. Like for me, I see myself being happier. I don't know about funnier because I'm pretty damn funny now.
He is.
But as far as just like my own personal happiness, I mean that's a choice I make each and every day. That's
right. Yep. It's a choice.
If it's gonna be having a bad day, this is just one day out of many days. This is just 1 week out of many weeks, or 1 month out of many months. I mean, everything passes. All drama has an expiration date.
That's right.
And so I just look at it like that and realize, like, things are gonna be better. And I'm gonna, especially come to the conference, I'm gonna learn some more tools, tricks, tips I can use to live a better life.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Absolutely.
I'm going to keep going. Hey, so, wow. So that's amazing. Thank you. And so I'm just going to talk here for a few minutes because I just want to share that we're all here working really hard to try and raise vibrations, to try and make happier everything, and work through. A lot of what we talk about is how to cope using humor. So gallows humor, for example, as we were just mentioning, could be something that might be in the medical field where they're dealing a little bit with difficult, dark, hard topics, hard illnesses, death. And so they have their own little bubble of a type of humor. And that's actually part of how AATH was formed, was because nurses wanted to study the humor and what happens in the background with humor while people are trying to cope with difficult situations. And so I just wanted to bring that up. And I had my session today for Joy First, and it was technically challenging, but once all the technical stuff was done, it was absolutely amazing. We had a long discussion about how to use joy and humor to deal with bullying and to try and make a change in bullying and stop some of the behavior. We had a long discussion about it. And it's getting noisy here because she's doing her sound check, our next speaker. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to say I'll see you tomorrow. I've been getting ready for the podcast. I've been preparing for the mishmash, which will come after the conference, and you'll get to experience that. And I'm just very happy to be sharing again today from the conference. And I just want to share this wall because it's really cool. It's all these beautiful faces. And I sort of don't fit in. I'm just kidding. But so if you are enjoying these lives from the conference, give us a yes in the comments. And I will see you again tomorrow if I don't manage to post anything tonight because we're really busy. This is like back to back to back to back information, learning. So much information about the science of humor. In fact, we learned about how to use leadership with Legos, and because Lego has this whole leadership program, and I went into that breakout room and it was fascinating, just fascinating. So anyway, give us a yes in the comments to keep going, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.